Sup guys, it's Alex here, and welcome to the March 5th edition of the Bracketology update. After a couple of conference tournaments have already locked themselves up, Michigan has won the Big Ten championship. They've gone from a 5 seed, I think, in the last Bracketology to a 3 seed now. Congratulations to the Wolverines on their second consecutive Big Ten title. But there's been a lot of movement over the course of the weekend. Ohio State is now down to a 5 seed after losing to Penn State for the third time in a row. Rhode Island is continuing their free fall down to an 8 seed. I think they were up to a 4 seed at one point, maybe a 5 seed. I might be wrong on that. Middle Tennessee fell to a 2 seed after losing to Marshall. Butler's down to a 9. Creighton's down to an 8. Florida State's up to a 9. Kentucky is now down to a 6, playing in Nashville, which I'll be able to go to that game. Michigan State also fell after losing to Michigan in the Big Ten semifinals. St. Bonaventure's moving up to a 10. Texas A&M is up to a 7 seed now, with Wichita State falling at home to Cincinnati, and now they're a 4 seed. And Cincinnati's up to a 2 seed, taking the place of Michigan State. Or, who was the other 4 seed that fell? Oh, Ohio State. They fell to a 5 or whatever. And then Florida is up to a 5 seed after beating Kentucky. And then there's not a whole lot of other changes, but that's it. And just a quick look at the bubble to see where the teams are. The last 4 byes are a little bit safe right now, but still need a little bit of work to do. We got Kansas State, Providence, Arizona State, and Baylor. Those wins over Kansas and Xavier are the only things that are keeping Arizona State in the tournament right now. Last 4 in, Texas, USC, UCLA, and Alabama. First 4 out are Louisville now, who has fallen out of the tournament. They face Florida State on Wednesday, and they need to win that game if they're going to make the tournament. Marquette, Oklahoma State, who just swept Kansas this season, the first time Kansas has been swept under Bill Self during the Big 12 season. And Notre Dame. Next 4 out are Syracuse, Penn State, Boise State, and Nebraska. So what I do if you're new here is I go on Brackify.com and create a bracket for you guys to vote. The link for this will be in the description right there. And basically what this is an interactive bracket, since ESPN doesn't do this kind of stuff for their bracketologies that they do. I go on Brackify, I create the bracket for you guys to go ahead and vote, and then we'll see who the winner is based off of who I think is going to win. And I made this bracket at, I think, like 10 o'clock this morning. Already has almost 5,000 votes, so thank you very much for that. I think it's about 6 o'clock by the time I'm making this video. It'll probably go up around 7:30 or so. Let's go ahead and get right into this without any further ado. Virginia is going to beat the winner of Arkansas Pine Bluff and Lipscomb. Lipscomb won the Atlantic Sun Championship over Florida Gulf Coast. Missouri will beat Butler as long as they have Michael Porter Jr. I don't know about this. I know a lot of people are liking Middle Tennessee to pull off the upset here as a 12 seed, but I like Bates Diop and Ohio State moving on there. Texas Tech will beat Buffalo. Miami, Florida will beat Baylor. Then we got Auburn beating Charleston. Seton Hall beating Kansas State, and Cincinnati beating Iona there. I think the Chalk's going to hold in that bracket, or side of the bracket. Kansas will beat Nichols. Then we got Creighton beating Florida State. I'm not too high on Florida State this year. Gonzaga will beat New Mexico State. Maybe if New Mexico State had been playing Ohio State, I might have gone with it, or maybe Florida, but going to go with Gonzaga moving on there. Arizona will beat Mike Daum and South Dakota State. Then this is a trendy upset pick right here. I'm a Kentucky fan, but you never know what's going to happen with them this season. They're going to face the winner of Texas and USC, which at this point I think will be Texas, and Kentucky's going to move on there. Michigan State's going to beat UNC Greensboro. St. Bonaventure will beat Houston, and then North Carolina will beat UC Davis. Villanova will beat the winner of Radford and Hampton. Radford just won their conference championship on a buzzer beater 3 at the end of the game. Villanova's going to win that. Then NC State will beat Rhode Island. Then we got Florida beating Louisiana Lafayette, though I can see that being an upset pick right there. Murray State was the first NCAA team to punch their ticket to the tournament. They beat Belmont in the Ohio Valley Conference, but they're going to lose to West Virginia here. And then UCLA and Alabama are playing the first 4 game. I think that UCLA is going to be able to beat Colin Sexton and Alabama, but then they'll lose to TCU. Michigan will beat Bucknell. Then we got Providence beating Arkansas, and then Duke beating Wagner. Then we have Xavier beating Harvard, Virginia Tech beating Jock Landale, I think is his name, and St. Mary's. Then I got Loyola Chicago winning here. They're my favorite mid-major team in the bracket this year, and a lot of people are picking them over Clemson, who's starting to get into a slump right now. I got Loyola Chicago pulling off the upset there, along with Vermont beating Wichita State. Vermont is one of the most underrated teams coming out of the American East. I think they're like 31-1 in the last 2 years in conference play. They pushed Kentucky to the limit earlier this season. I think they pull off the upset here against an unsuspecting Wichita State team. Nevada will beat Arizona State. Tennessee will beat Montana. Texas A&M with Tyler Davis will beat Trae Young in Oklahoma. Then we got Purdue beating Wright State. Then for a spot to the Sweet 16, we got Virginia beating Missouri, Texas Tech beating Ohio State, Miami, Florida pulling off the upset here against a shorthanded Auburn team. Then Cincinnati will beat Seton Hall. Kansas will beat Creighton. Then we got Arizona with Sean Miller back on the bench for the season. He's going to be returning along with DeAndre Ayton and Alonzo Trier. Then we got, as much as I want to pick Kentucky there, Michigan State's going to beat them. It's not even going to be close. Then we got North Carolina beating St. Bonaventure. Villanova will beat NC State, though this matchup, a couple years ago, I think it was the 2015 NCAA tournament, NC State upset the number 1 seed Villanova in the second round game. I know because I was at my high school prom whenever it happened. I was like, oh my gosh, I was like running around, all that jazz. That was pretty funny. But Villanova's going to win that one. West Virginia is going to beat Florida. Michigan will beat TCU. And then Duke will beat Providence. Then we got Xavier beating Virginia Tech. Loyola Chicago beating Vermont. And once I can click that there we go. Tennessee's going to beat Nevada. Then Purdue will beat Texas A&M. Then first spot in the Elite Eight, Virginia versus Texas Tech. We got Virginia moving on. Then Cincinnati and Miami, Florida. I got Cincinnati moving on there. Kansas and Arizona. I think Arizona pulls off the upset here. I think they're going to beat Kansas. And then Michigan State, they're going to lose to North Carolina. I know a lot of people like Miles Bridges and Jaron Jackson of Michigan State, but they've proven that I can't really get behind them right now. I thought they would have won the Big Ten tournament. I know I predicted them in the Big Ten championship tournament, or I guess that video that I had made. But I got North Carolina moving on here past Michigan State. It's kind of fumbling my words there. And we got Villanova beating West Virginia. Ooh, Michigan and Duke. Michigan is one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in the NCAA right now after winning the Big Ten tournament. But I got Duke moving on there. Then Xavier's going to beat Loyola Chicago. Then Tennessee and Purdue. I think Purdue's going to win that matchup. Then for a spot in the Final Four, Virginia's going to beat Cincinnati. This is going to be a boring game to watch. Both teams are amazing on defense. They're going to be holding their opponents to a low amount of points. It could be like that UConn and Butler game from back in like 2011, I think it was. Virginia's going to move on there. And then North Carolina will beat Arizona. Duke will beat Villanova. And then Xavier will beat Purdue. Then it's going to be a battle right here between Virginia and North Carolina. But Virginia's going to end up winning it. Then we got Duke and Xavier. I think Duke's going to beat Xavier there to make an all-ACC national championship game. And most people are picking Duke to win over Virginia. I'm kind of surprised by that. I'm going to go with Virginia moving on. They haven't lost in forever. Again, I think their last loss was on the road or at home against Virginia Tech. I think it was by 1 point, 61-60, if I'm not mistaken. But there you have it. I have Virginia winning there. I know it's kind of an easy prediction to make right now, but they're the best team in the NCAA, in my opinion. Let's check the results. Wow, most people who have voted so far have picked Michigan to win. 22 people have picked them to win it all. They have, they're number one in the rankings because of that. Virginia actually has the most people voting for them. Most people's Final Four, if I can pull up the results here, the bracket. Yeah, they have Virginia and Michigan in the Final Four, and then Michigan State, Purdue, Michigan, and Virginia in the Final Four. 3 Big Ten teams out of the supposedly terrible Big Ten this year. You know what it is. So there you have it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave your thoughts and reactions in the comments below and about this bracket. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe if you did, and for more college basketball content. And I will see you all later. Thanks for watching.